What's up, YouTubers? Welcome to the next in our series from RSAC 2024, where I was lucky enough to chat with some of the most innovative companies and their founders who were exhibiting at this year's show. And this episode is one of my favorites. Join me and the founder of Cybersecurity, Guy Guzner, where we hear all about his cybersecurity journey, his why for cyber, of course, new Gartner categories, bringing the band back together, and why Savvy Security. Now, I hope you enjoy this as much as I did. Like I said, it was one of my favorite chats I had at RSA this year. Drop us a like or a comment below and let us know your thoughts. And if you want to find out more about Savvy Security, link for them is in the description. Enjoy, everyone. See you soon.
Well, Cybersecurity enables customers to find about all of their SaaS identities, all of the accounts that people are using, and then helping them to remediate any security violation resulting from people making bad security decisions, using bad identity hygiene like compromised passwords, reused passwords, and also offboard access when it's no longer necessary. Sure, absolutely. Actually, my background would be very simple, as I've been doing only one thing entirely in my career, which has always been my passion, and that's cybersecurity, building and creating cybersecurity products. I've been fortunate to do this for close to 30 years, spent 13 years at Check Point, where I eventually became head of their network security division, big brand selling for over $1.5 billion annually. 10 years ago, decided that I want to do something on my own, started a small startup in the domain of web isolation called Fireglass. We created a new category called web isolation. That's finally what Gartner told us that we're doing. So we said, okay, that's fine. And we ended up selling that to Symantec very quickly after a little bit more than 2 years. It was a great outcome, and it was an opportunity for me to become the GM of Symantec in Israel, because they never had presence there. We did 3 more acquisitions with Symantec, and then when they ended up selling their enterprise business to Broadcom, decided to go home, but I realized that it's just too early for me just to sit at home and to be on the sideline, and I want to be back in the court. And there are, luckily with cybersecurity, there are always opportunities to do new things. There are always challenges that keeping you on the edge, and that's what led me to start Savvy with an amazing team of 3 other co-founders who we've worked together for, with most of them in the last 20 years in Check Point and in other places, and we kind of pulled the band back together to start Savvy, and here we are, and that's what gets me here. Well, I think if you look at my journey in cybersecurity, and I started cybersecurity before I was doing this professionally. I was doing this as a hobby, as a hacker that breaks into places, gets where I should, and there was a challenge on how to get into places that you can't get into, and that's how I started, and I actually even been taught doing this. But when I looked at the progression of what I did, a lot of what I did in the beginning was about the network, because that was the way to get into organizations. It was protecting the networks, and that's where I was doing firewalls for many years. But then the threats started evolving and started to target users themselves, not the network or the server. So this is what we were doing with Fireglass, is isolating browsers, isolating applications that got compromised. But then, even after doing Fireglass and isolating users, we realized that even if you isolate them from the internet, you don't prevent breaches from actually happening, because if someone makes a bad security decision, they are opening the door and you still get compromised. So that's our journey with Savvy, is to protect that place where humans intersect with technology make a bad decision that can lead to a compromise. And what we've seen in recent years is that all of us, the users, are in a great era of a lot of productivity coming from SaaS. You can choose from hundreds of thousands of services to help you being more productive, and you can onboard new applications, and you don't need IT to do that. So the whole consumption model of technology is changed to be more user-driven, more business-driven. But with all of that goodness that comes with that transition, there's also a price to pay in terms of security. Users have more power. They have more power to make those mistakes. And that's exactly where Savvy comes in, to enable you to enjoy those wonderful services. We don't say, oh, let's just block everything like people used to say in the past. There's shadow IT. Let's just have a strict policy and block that. It's how to enable people doing this while presenting some guardrails that allow them to do it in a safe way. And that's what we are all about. That passion started at a very, very young age. I was always fascinated by computers. Being a kid in the 80s, it wasn't that prevalent.
Did you have a ZX81 Spectrum or a Commodore 64?
My first computer was Commodore 64, but my parents, even when I was 3 years old, took me to the university to see the big mainframe computers, rolling tape.
My father used to take me to his office to do this.
Exactly, because there wasn't a personal computer. And then a few years later, when the Commodore 64 went out, that's the first computer that I got. But I was a kid living in Israel. I don't know English. You have to, program in basics. So my parents got me a private tutor to teach me English when I'm in kindergarten, so I could program the computer. And this is where the whole curiosity about technology started. And then you learn some programming, and then someday you learn about the ability to communicate. I mean, it seems so natural for us that, we can, pick up our mobile phone and you can contact anyone in the world. It wasn't like that decades ago. It was mind-blowing that I can sit at home and using, a dial-up modem. Like people used to connect to AOL online, and I always get disconnected when someone picks up the phone at home. But you sit at home and you can get to like the other side of the world. That was totally mind-blowing to me, and that's where I started to see, well, how far can I get? And I happened to get quite far with it eventually.